The learner and parent information module is quite a large module and is divided into 10 main components. Under each component we have a variety of subcomponents that deal with all the specific details, either regarding attendance, the actual biographical information, demerit and merit, bus routes, assigning mentors, specific reporting languages, the subject registration summary, which can be printed later on, and then moving on to exam registration, and then processing and maintaining learner promotions. We are going to start with 3.1, Learner Data Files menu. Under the Learner Data Files menu, we deal with a lot of biographical information of the learner, and then we assign them to classes and grades, and we can also print a lot of reports and statistics about every single learner or all of them together. We can also capture information of the parents for every learner and then delete entire learner records if necessary. Let us start with 3.1.1, Learner Information. This contains the most of the biographical data that needs to be captured. This part is compulsory as the information is required by all school surveys and other official school reports. This data should be checked quarterly and updated whenever there are any changes. Archive learners should not be captured as new learners, but should be reinstated to avoid learner duplicates. Remember that data is captured from blank learner registration forms, which I will show you later where we can print these. When you open up this window, the title is Learner Enrollment. You can either filter by a specific grade and then again by a specific class. Each time you filter, it will show you exactly how many learners. For example, in grade 8 in the school there are 64 learners, but in grade 8K there are only 13. If you wish to remove this filter, click on Show All Current Learners. In the school there are currently 291. The next set to filter is from the enrollment list is the current learners and then future registrations. Under future registrations, you can capture information about learners that are still to be registered at the school. Current learners, as to be expected, shows all the learners that are currently at the school. If we wish to add a learner to the school, we click on this button over here, Add New Learner. The first thing it asks you, does the learner have a tracking number? If the learner already has a national tracking number, then please enter the tracking number in the space provided here. So first you need to tick this button and then put the number in. If the learner does not as yet have a national tracking number, make sure this option is selected and then click on Next. When you add a learner, you can add the learner registration for the current year or a future year. We're going to stick on current for now. There are 3 tabs to choose from: Personal Details, Additional Details, and then Medical Information. Let us start with Personal Details. The The first field is learner tracking number. You can put this in later. You do not need to add it right now. Then we have the accession number or ID number. And then important is the registration date. Registration date is the actual date that the learner enters the school. The grade that the learner has entered the school, just click on the arrow down and select one of these options. The inclusion status, mainstream or LSEN in mainstream. If you click on LSEN in mainstream, you need to specify what is the primary disability. Then once again, choosing from the list the current grade that the learner is in, how many years in that grade, the class. Okay, you first need to select your grade and then you can select a specific class. The learner's surname is important, the initials. Remember, when it comes to this part in names, the child has a first name and surname and initials on their ID. This is the information that needs to be filled in here. Any other family names or nicknames need to be placed over here. It can still be printed out in the report, but the first name and surname that appear on the child's ID need to be captured here. Other identification details, their birth date, including the year, month and day. All you need to do is click in it and then fill in the date. And then again selecting the gender, population group that they fall under, citizenship of the learner. If they're an SA citizen, you need to fill in their ID number in this block over here. If you were to choose immigrant, you need to add their passport number. It is important statistically to know how many children in your school are SA citizens or immigrants. Again, the country of residence and then province of residence. This information here is not compulsory, but it would be good to have on file. One option that you need to also include is the reporting language for this learner, selecting from here. Let us click on Additional Details, the second tab. The languages. What is the child's home language? And then their language of instruction. If the learner has a preferred language of instruction, you can choose from this list here. Boarding. If the school has boarding facilities, you can say yes or no, selecting one of the options. Their specific number if they do have one. And then if you've captured a name, you can choose the name of the hostel. The mode of transport you can choose from the drop-down list, and then a few other details about the family that the child is in. Important information that needs to be captured is the previous enrollment. You can choose from a list of type of schools that the child was previously enrolled in which province, and then if they came from a specific country, you can mention it over here. Is this the first time enrollment in this province? You need to choose between these two options. If the learner has come from a feeder school that you've created, then you can choose from a list of feeder schools that you've added. Or if you wish to capture new information about the previous school, you can add in more details here. Let's click on medical information. Under medical information, we have details from medical aid number to doctor's name and dexterity of learner, and then right at the bottom we have school grants information, social grants information. Is the child registered for child support, maintenance, foster child, or care dependency, or is the child receiving any of these grants? If the child is, then tick the box and then type in the grant number. Once you've added all this information in, you can then add or browse for a photograph of the learner. This is not compulsory, but it will appear on the child's report once it is printed. Once you have made all your changes, you can click on Save. If you have not filled in one of the compulsory fields, you will be asked to fill it in. For me, I'm not going to save you any of the information that I've added in, so I'm going to click on Done. Are you sure you want to exit without saving? Yes. And Done again to close this window. If I want to view or update a learner, you first need to filter to find your learner. Choose one. And then click on View Update Learner. And then same information appears in the 3 tabs. You can then add from here any disciplinary records, learning barriers, specifics, incident information, change the accession number, change the learner tracking number, and then the main parent information. I'll go into this in detail in later videos. Once you've made your changes, click on Update and the child's learner's information will be saved. Let's click on Done for now. If you wish to archive a specific learner, choose the learner and then click Archive. Their registration date, surname, initials, and accession number and gender appear in red. Then you need to specify more information about the archive, what date that they've left the school, the grade of the learner on leaving the school, and if you change the date to another year, ensure that you enter the correct grade for that year. And then once again, the reason for leaving. Once you're happy with that, click on Save to Archive. Then click on Done. The next bit under Details is Maintain RCL. RCL is Representative Council for Learner Members. This gives you a list of any active members, and you can filter it to say past non-active members. If you wish to add a new member, click on Add. Then you can choose a type of member to be added. You can search for a specific surname if you want to, and then click on Go, or you can choose from the list. Then you can tick on the member details. You can change any information that you want to add any more. Remember the compulsory fields in blue. And then I'm not going to save anything, but you need to click on Save to RCL. Then if you want to edit a member, you click on one and you click on Edit, or to delete it. Verify composition. This shows you how many RCL members are there per grade, and then the total. The printout will print this specific form for you in a nice format. Click on Done when you're finished.